Hey friends, I've got a Century skeletal motor here on the workbench today. They call this a skeletal motor because of the openness, how open it is. You can see all the internal windings and everything. That's just a term that collectors is put on this style of motor because it's so open. They call it a skeletal. So this motor had some bad bearings in it. There's the old ones that came out from in there, and I made new bearings for it. And I just start with a piece of brass bar stock, just solid brass bar stock, and machine everything away that doesn't look like that, basically. And I've got it hooked up to a switch here, and yeah, this is an Emerson switch, but that's okay. It'll work just fine. But a three wire head wire, you got to go through a switch to start it. You can't start these motors just by hooking up an AC cord there. You've got to go through a choke coil and a switch there to start these motors. So I'm going to plug it in just to see it run. Alright, and there she is. Pretty smooth, huh? Okay, that's all for now. This one's ready to go back together. Thank y'all for watching. Hey friends, just one more quick thing on these old motors right here. As I mentioned, this motor was made in 1914 right here. And all of these motors they were made as a workhorse back in those days. You know, this was pre-air conditioning, and these fans were run hard through the summertime, and most of them put away in the winter either in a basement or an attic or something, and then they were taken back out, serviced, cleaned, and lubricated, and ran again the following year. And some of them were a little more neglected than others, and they weren't lubricated and they weren't taken care of. So a lot of these will have bad bearings because they got a lot of run time on them. But you can make these motors run like brand new again. As you see, this one's been rewound, and Rick Huckabee in Lufkin, Texas does a great job on winding these old motors. Most motor shops won't even mess with these little motors like this. But Rick does a good job rewinding those motors, and a lot of times I'll do the bearings like I just showed in that previous video. And over the years I'll show you just a box right here of bearings where I've replaced bearings in a bunch of old motors over the years. So there's a lot of old antique fans out now that are running, and they're running like new again after going through and replacing bearings in those things. So these are generally better than anything that you can buy new today. Like that old plastic stuff that you run it a year, and when it quits you throw it away. Some of these fans have been running for over 100 years, and they run just as good today as they did back in 1914 when this motor was made. All right, that's all for now. Y'all take care.